Okay, so we're going to start in seated. Find a comfortable seat. It could be cross-legged, it could be kneeling on blocks, just somewhere where you feel like, you can move the body a little bit. All right, so let's just close the eyes for a moment here, just to land. Find the breath. And just start to feel the breath move up and down the body from the sitting bones to the crown. Inhaling, finding length. Exhaling, finding softness, finding that settled, that sense of release, grounding, of rooting, of arriving in this moment, becoming fully present. So with this 30-minute shortened classes, I feel like it's even more important to set an intention of being fully present for these brief 30 minutes that we're going to be here with the breath and the body. So set that intention, if it feels okay for you, to be fully present in this moment right now with this breath, and to continue to be present for the next 30 minutes. And when you're ready, grab those knees, whether you're kneeling or cross-legged, and take a nice inhale into a seated cow and exhale into a seated cat. And just moving back and forth, keeping the eyes closed if it feels okay to do so, to just kind of tune in to what's going on in the body here and how it feels. Where do you feel it? Where is it obvious? Where is it a little more subtle? And then the next time you inhale, pause there. Draw the belly and sit up tall and reach that right arm up. Nice inhale. Exhale, come on over to the left for a side bend. Inhale, center, and exhale to the side. And just flowing back and forth with the breath, again, staying fully present. It's easy to check out when we're doing these kind of rhythmic movements. So stay present. And the next time you come over, pause there, bring that arm away from the ear a little bit. So you can come on down and get into the outside of that hip a little, and then draw the arm a little closer if you can. It might not come really close. Don't let the arm shift forward. Try and keep that arm in line with the shoulder, or with the shoulders in line with the hip. The wrist is in line with the shoulder, straight line from the hip all the way up to the fingertips. Find that last little bit of stretch. And come on up for the other side. Reach that left arm up. Nice inhale. And exhale over. Inhale. And exhale. That's an example right there, right? We just want to go to the next thing. And so we have to kind of pause on that inhale. And you might find yourself rushing through it or starting to come into the exhale too soon. So something subtle like that is an example of us not really staying present with the breath and the body. All right, let's find our side bend on that other side. Move that arm away again for a moment as you find the depth all the way down to that hip, and then slowly bring it closer, finding that last little bit. Keep that breath going. Maybe the gaze turns to the left. And slowly bring it up. Grab those knees again. Nice inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. And back into our long spine. Nice inhale, get a little taller, and exhale to the left for a twist. And back to center, arms up overhead. Inhale. Exhale, arms down and twist to the other side. Then back up, inhale overhead. Exhale, the other side. Holding, breathing. So holding the pose, but not the breath. Inhale back up overhead. And exhale back over to that other side once again. And inhale overhead, reach and draw those hands down to the heart. All right, let's switch legs if you're in cross-legged. So most of you know I can't switch legs. So I'm stuck with having this one in front because I can't bend it anymore. So, but y'all switch legs if you can, if you're in cross-legged. And let's find those knees again. Nice inhale into cow. Exhale, cat. And then finding that nice long spine, tuck the chin and close those eyes as you lengthen up through the back of the neck, getting as tall as you can. Pull the belly in and just see how far in you can tuck the chin. Not pulling your head, not letting your head pull forward. So just sitting up tall and almost pushing your chin back into your throat as you tuck it in. That's actually a yogic, it's part of a yogic block called Jalandhara Bandha. And so when we get that back of the chin kind of pushing into the throat and then lift it in just that last little bit, it opens up the back of the throat for air to flow more freely if you're breathing through the nose. So just notice that if you're all stuffy, I know it's allergy season, so some of this nose breathing might not work for everyone. So just breathe the best you can here. And then slowly start to roll that head around in a circle. Other direction. And tucking that chin once again. And this time lift the chin up. So instead of just dropping the head back, think more about reaching the chin up to the sky. So reach the chin right on up, mouth is closed, and then pull that chin back, opening up the throat. And then use all the muscles in the throat below the chin to slowly, slowly, slowly lift the head back to center. All right, let's come on around to tabletop. My knee is really stiff, so I'm moving slow. Hannah and I went to the city for 3 days, and I walked 4 miles on Monday and Tuesday. My knee survived, but it's a little stiff. I didn't do enough stretching to counter all of that movement. So it is stiff this morning. So I'm moving slow. Let's shift those hips from side to side. Just say a little hello to those hips. So when we're focusing on the upper body, the neck and shoulders and upper back, we still want to take it all the way down to the hips and get the hips involved a little bit. Let's make a circle with those hips. So just shifting forward, pushing off to the side, pushing back. Other direction. Good, and back to center. Nice inhale into cow. And exhale into cat. And 2 more. The next time you come into cat, pause there. Tuck those toes under if you can. And really pull that tailbone towards the forehead and vice versa. And then push away from the floor, pushing your middle back to the sky. Breathing there. And then coming back to neutral, let the feet rest down, pushing away from the floor as you come into cow. Back of the head draws towards the back of the hips. Solar plexus pulls down. Push away from the floor, breathe. And come back to neutral. Let's move that right hand forward a little bit. So it's just out of the way so we can come underneath it. Open up that left arm, give that wrist a little roll, a little love. Oh my God, everything is tight. There's a saying in the front bathroom here, we have these posters that have all these different yoga sayings or quotes from people doing yoga. And one of them says, 7 days without yoga makes 1 week, W-E-A-K. I'm like, yes, yes, it does. Inhale up and exhale through. So as we dive down and through, bend the elbow, dive down so you can get really low and see if you can tap your shoulder down to the floor and even your head, just to give it, if you can't, that's okay. I mean, the right elbow's practically on the floor. Okay, and then push back up, open back up. There's our inhale. Exhale, sweep it through, dive down. How far through can you reach? Can you get that? It's not so much about how far through can you reach. Can you get the shoulder down to the floor? Inhale up and exhale, dive it down. All right, the next time we come through, we're going to land on the elbow, the forearm. So come through, find that forearm, take a moment, reposition. So open to the right a little bit so you can kind of have a sense of where that elbow needs to be so that when you start twisting open, you feel like your head is staying in line with the center of the hips. And then bring that right arm around the back and try and open up that right arm. So the right hip wants to push off to the side. Try and bring it back and keep it right over the knee. Finding the breath. And plant that right palm down, push up the table. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Tuck the toes, lift the knees up, downward facing dog. Pedal the feet, rock the hips. You might have to move the feet a little bit. They might be a little too close to the hands. You might have to move them back. You might not. We can just leave them there. We can play around. We can go wide with the feet. Just find some movement, maybe rocking back and forth a little bit, getting into those shoulders a little more. Whatever feels good. All right, let's take it back down to our tabletop. So take a moment to get repositioned there. And then we'll take that left hand forward so it's out of the way a little bit. Open up that right arm, give that right wrist a little love, a little roll. And nice inhale. And exhale, bend that left elbow deeply, dive it down. Let's pause on this first one, reach through, drop it down, see how low you can go. Let your head rest down. And then press back up, nice inhale, twist open. And exhale, thread it through. All right, the next time we come through, we'll land on that elbow again. Okay, so take a moment, make sure the knees are still under the hips and the hips are over the knees. And then start twisting open, bring the arm around the back, readjust that right elbow if you need to, so you feel like your head is in line. That left hip's gonna start pushing off to the side again, bring it back. Try and keep those hips over the knees as you press away from the floor. So push into that right arm strongly and try and open up that left shoulder. Spin your heart open to the side, breathe. Wow. Did a lot of driving, a lot of walking and a lot of driving, both. My whole body's stiff. All right, come on down, plant that palm, press on up. Thank God for yoga. Nice inhale into cow, exhale into cat, and take it on up to our downward facing dog. Stretch it out. All right, let's widen those feet a bit. So they're just a little, those ankles are a little wider than the hips. Press on back, draw the heels towards the floor. So you draw the belly in, look back in between those legs. And bend those knees, walk those hands towards the feet. So you end up at the back of your mat. Half lift when you get there, inhale. Exhale, hinge, hello. Hamstrings, pivot those hips. Find that just right amount of stretch for you. And bend those knees, drop it on down into ragdoll, grabbing those elbows on your way. And just drop heavy here. So we're holding those elbows, but we're letting go. So the only thing really with a whole lot of effort, obviously our legs to hold us standing up, but
We're just barely hanging on those elbows so the arms don't fall towards the floor. But other than that, we're letting the arms get really heavy. The arms are falling from the shoulder joints. We're trying to create space in the shoulder joints. So we're trying to use the weight of the arms to pull on the shoulders, to pull on the muscles in the upper back. Same with the head. Trying to get the weight of that head to give some pull, this reverse traction for our upper back and neck. Soften the jaw, get a little heavier, and then just start swaying from side to side. And then sway a little more and lift the elbow. So as I spin over to the left, I'm lifting the right elbow up and even straightening the right leg a little bit. And then just kind of going back and forth. You might feel like you want a wider stance for that. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe the toes turn out a little. It doesn't matter. That feels okay for you. That's the question. All right, let's settle back to center. Drop those arms on down. Let them dangle and take it on up nice and slow. Let those arms dangle like wet noodles falling from the shoulders. They're just so heavy. All the way up. Head is dropping into the chest all the way up until you get up to standing. I bet you'll never guess what's coming next. Stack of Brahman. You feel like you need to adjust those feet, adjust them, hands to the heart. Nice big inhale up. Nice releasing exhale, arms to a T, dive it on down. Keep going till you get that stretch in the backs of the legs. Back up halfway. Bend those knees a little, sweep those arms forward alongside the ears. Reach from sitting bone to fingertips. Draw the belly in, reach that last little bit, inhale, and exhale, take it on down. This time letting the arms dangle from the shoulders, let the head drop, soften here. Get as heavy as you can. We're only here for the exhale next time. So kind of memorize this really great place of letting go. All right, let's take it up slow on this one once again. Next time we'll come up a little faster, stretching those arms out once you get there and bring it up and back to the heart, bend the knees. All right, let's flow with the breath. Nice big inhale up. Nice big exhale, dive it down. Nice big inhale overhead. Nice releasing exhale, drop it down. Finish that exhale when you're ready. Big inhale up, all the way up. Stretch it out. And then exhale back to the heart, bend the knees. Again, inhale. Exhale, dive. Inhale overhead. And exhale, drop it in. All the way up. Back to the heart, flowing right into our Robin's breath. So we can keep the stance we have, or if you want, you can bring the feet in a little closer. It doesn't matter. Okay, so whatever feels better for you. All right, so hands at the heart. Nice inhale here. Exhale, bend the knees, round the spine, dive forward. Nice big inhale, open up, lift that heart. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, scoop the tailbone under and squeeze the glutes, and come into that upper back. Bend the knees before you release, dive it forward. Inhale to the heart. Exhale, dive, bend the knees. Inhale, open up, lift up, go back, and dive it back forward. And back to the heart, inhale. One more time, exhale, dive. Inhale, open up. And exhale. And back to the heart. Inhale up overhead. And come on over to the right for a side bend. So grab below the wrist. So don't grab the wrist joint, grab below it. So it's a little bit more on the forearm, and give a pull. As long as it feels okay on that shoulder. If that doesn't feel okay on the shoulder, then just let that right arm fall down along the side. Okay, but if it feels okay, give that pull, draw the belly in, stand up tall, and come on over to the side. Breathe. Core brings you to center. Reach up, inhale, exhale, let the arms float down.
Give the shoulders a little roll. Sweep it back up, inhale. And grab that other wrist below the wrist, the forearm. Give a pull if you did it on the other side. Whatever you did on the other side, find your side bend on this side. Keep that breath going. Core lifts you to center. Inhale. Exhale, let those arms float down. Give those shoulders a roll once again. Inhale up. Exhale, dive it down into our Uttanasana, forward bend. And bend those knees, walk those hands forward into downward facing dog. And press it back. Okay, so root those hands, spin the hands open just a little bit so that your index finger is aiming straight forward towards the front of your mat. Press into the palms and press on back. Nice solid down dog. Now step your feet a little wider. Press it back again and look at the floor and draw your nose. You could bend your knees a little and draw your nose towards the floor as you keep pushing back. Breathe. And shift forward. Drop the knees down to extended child's pose. Stretching those arms out long, letting the whole body settle down. Finding the breath here. And let's shift forward a little bit so that our bottom isn't quite so close to our heels. So it's kind of hovering above the calves. Then bring your left hand into center, right hand on top. Scoop the tailbone under so you're kind of rounding the low back a little. Pull the belly into the spine and then pull the hips back as you sink the body down. So it's kind of like back into our extended child's pose, but our hands are on top. Those hands are pressing into each other to try and hold them in place. So when we pull back, they don't slide and the whole body is sinking down. Pull those hips back that last little bit and shift forward. Switch hands, bring that other hand on top, scoop and pull back. Whole body sinking down once again. Keep pulling the hips back, keep pressing into the hands so they don't slide. Keep that breath going. And shift forward, drop the elbows down to the ground, interlace the fingers, tuck those toes, lift the knees up into half feathered peacock. I like my hands in prayer. I don't like to interlace, so you can try that. So your hands are in prayer instead. You can pick whichever one feels better. Press up away from the floor, look back at your feet, bring your feet together, and then look back at those toes, and then press up and back. So as you press back, you're continuing to press away from the floor. Breathe. And drop those knees on down. Inch the elbows back towards the knees until you can come into child's pose. So arms along the sides, palms facing up. And tucking that chin in. And bring those hands alongside the ears so you can press up and drop the hips off to one side. So just fall over to one hip and kick the feet on out in front of you. We're just going to come right back into our seat. So cross-legged or kneeling. Cross-legged is easier just because we're going to come down onto our back. So if you can do cross-legged, it's just going to make it an easier transition to get down onto our backs. Interlace those fingers behind the head. Sit up nice and tall. So kind of the same thing that we're doing earlier with the back of the chin pushing into the throat, like we're trying to hollow out the back of our throat. So that's going to be our exhale. So on the inhale, lifting up, drawing the elbows away, as we kind of let the head fall into the hands and lift the heart. That's going to be our inhale. And then exhale, we're not trying to round the upper back at all. We're not trying to round the whole body. We're actually trying to sit up tall. Bring the elbows in and push the back of the throat into the chin
And then lift the heart up towards the nose or the forehead. So we're trying not to come into a back bend. Let's actually just hold that instead of doing it with the breath. You can play around with how the elbows are. They can be a little bit further. You can try and bring them close, but sit up tall. Push that chin into the throat and then draw your heart and forehead together. Find the breath there. Good, and then release, and we're gonna take that down to the floor. Actually, oh, sorry, one more thing I wanna do before we go down onto the floor. Reach that right arm up and bring it behind the back. Okay, so the hand just kind of comes wherever it comes, and try and inch that hand down the back as far as it will go. Sit up tall, pull the solar plexus in so you're not popping the chest out. Reach up and grab that elbow. Pull the heart and solar plexus in, keep them pulling in so they don't pop up and out. And then pull the elbow back and then try and pull it in towards center. That's where the chest lifts because the shoulder is tight and it's trying to compensate for it. So pull that heart back in, keep that chest down, don't let it pop up and out as you try and bring that elbow in. It's almost like you're trying to push your hand down to your middle back, like you're trying to get your fingers to touch your middle back without the chest popping up. Keep the breath going. Nice inhale, reach up through that elbow, and then exhale, come on over to the left for a side bend. Turn the head to the right, breathe. Slowly release. Other side, reach that left arm up, inch those fingers down the back, pull the heart and solar plexus in, grab that elbow, pull it back, and then pull it in towards center. Right there, my chest just lifted up. So pull it back in, get the core going as you pull the elbow in and back. Find that breath. And reach up through that elbow, get that length, and then come on over to the right for your side bend. Turn the head to the left, breathe. And come on back and release, give those shoulders a little roll. All right, now down onto your back. So same thing we just did seated. Okay, so we're gonna start with our knees bent, feet on the floor. And I don't know if coming closer will help with this at all. But let's see. All right, so feet are on the floor, knees bent, interlacing the hands behind the head. So lift the head up off the floor. It's the same thing we just did in seated. We're trying to push that chin into the back of the throat. We're not trying to down to the chest. We're trying to actually really pull it into the throat. So it's like we're trying to touch the very back of our chin to our voice box. Okay, so try to see if you can find that. So it's almost like you're trying to tuck your chin into that little notch of the collarbone. You're trying to tuck it under there. And then lift your head up off the floor further while you keep that chin pushing in. So wherever the elbows are is fine. If you're really tight in this upper back, you'll get a really good stretch here. If you're not so tight in this particular spot, you might not get much. Good, and release on down. Bring those knees on into the chest. Give a little rock from side to side. And let's take those knees on over to the right. Just let them fall there. Left arm falls open to a T, so that wrist is straight out from the shoulder, palm facing up, and really let the shoulder get heavy so you can get that stretch in the front of that, that shoulder. And close the eyes. Let those ribs spin open. And bring it back to the chest, squeeze it in. And take it over to the other side. Let that arm fall open. Once again, really let it get heavy. And
If we have it down along the side, it takes the stretch in the pectorals away right here in front of the shoulder. So have it as straight out from the shoulder as you can. If it's floating in the air, like the arm doesn't hit the floor, you can bring it down a little if the stretch is too intense. And for some of you, if you're, a little more open here, you might not get a huge stretch in that pectoral. And come on back, hug those knees on in. Okay, so if you have a blanket, handy at home, a yoga blanket, grab that, roll it up for a bolster for underneath our back. If you don't, or it's in another room or it's not close by, just grab your yoga mat and roll it on up. So we want a nice tight roll, whether you're using a blanket or your yoga mat. So start with a nice tight, small tuck, if you will. I like using the yoga mat because it's a little firmer and it really just kind of creates the perfect size. Depends on how long your yoga mat is though. If you get one of those really long yoga mats, it makes a much thicker roll. So my yoga mat's only 68 inches, so it doesn't make a very thick roll. Okay, so either way, we're looking for a roll to put underneath our upper back. And so I'm a little surprised at how often people don't get where I mean for this roll to go, no matter how I explain it. So we're looking for it to go right below the shoulder blades. So for my ladies, it's pretty much above, right where the bra strap would be, or above, right above. And so when we lay on our back, so we're laying on we're putting this on the floor and we're laying on it. So when we lay on it, our arms are just above, barely above it. Our arms are not, it's not so high that our arm is on top of it. It's just low enough so that our arm can fall open, and it's just below that arm. So if the arm is stretched straight out to a T, the roll is just below that. Okay, so take a moment to get that set up on the floor. So here, coming on down, getting that situated, kind of trying to find that just right, stretch and see right there. So when you stretch those arms out to a T, it's just below those arms. So hopefully your roll is not so thick that you feel like your head can't rest on the floor. I'm long torsoed, which makes these supported poses easier for me. But if you feel like your head can't easily rest on the floor, you can grab anything to just kind of toss underneath something, a blanket or a thin pillow. But hopefully your roll isn't that thick that you feel like you can just let the arms flop open and let the head rest on the floor. And I'm rolling back here. I gotta come down a little more. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna keep my knees bent because I know my low back doesn't love it when I stretch my legs out here, but you can try stretching your legs out. You can also keep them bent. So just take a moment. We're ending here, so it has to feel at least mostly okay. If you're really tight in this upper back, this might not be feeling beautifully lovely like our normal relaxation would. So again, keeping the knees bent can kind of help with that. Okay, for some of you, it's going to feel lovely. For some of you, it's going to feel fine, but it's going to be like, yeah, not exactly where I'd want to stay for my final relaxation if we had time for a full final relaxation. So take a moment, let those arms flop open, let the whole body drop into let the heart drop into the roll, to the blanket or mat, whatever you're using, whatever's underneath you. Close the eyes if they're not already. And just find the breath. Feel the breath in the body. And see if you can bring your breath to focus on the heart center. Should be fairly easy here because our heart is, just kind of that area is lifted. So it feels natural to breathe into that space that's already open and expanded. And so as you inhale, connect with that expansion. And as you exhale, feel the body drop a little more freedom in that upper back, a little more relaxation in the body. Let the resistance fade away with each exhale. Just a couple more breaths here. So we're going to end a little differently today because I'm already running over time. We're going to bring our hands, the fingertips, like maybe the first 3 fingers, right into the heart center. So bring them in, touch that heart center. Eyes are still closed, and just find that breath there again. And as we find the breath here at the heart center, think of something that you would like your heart to be filled up with today, that you would like to move throughout your day with, a feeling or a sense of being. What energy do you want to radiate out into the world today? And so I'd like you to take a moment to thank yourself for showing up here on your mat. If there's any of you that would like to stay here a little longer, I highly recommend it. You can stay here with this breath and come into a mantra. You can flop those arms back open and stay here a little longer if you have time. So if you stay here a little longer, be sure to come out of it nice and slow. And even if you don't, everybody, when you're ready, come out of it nice and slow, taking your time. But stay there as long as you can if you have time.